Coming up on the March 24th edition of Sports Extra, updates about Mary Willingham and the UNC academic scandal. What's next for Carolina, and what has UNC's administration said about the situation so far? We have that story.
March Madness turns to sadness in what has to be one of the weirdest NCAA game endings in UNC's history. So who's really UNC's biggest foe? Duke, Iowa State, or the clock?
And the women's basketball team is fortunately through to the round of 32. We take a look at the Tar Heels' tough comeback and what UNC can expect from Michigan State Tuesday. All that and more, Sports Extra starts
right now.
From the University of North Carolina School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics, this is Sports Extra.
It's been more than 2 months since Provost Jim Dean called research from a whistleblower nearly meaningless and grossly unfair to our students. At that faculty meeting, Provost Dean promised an independent review of Mary Willingham's findings related to the reading levels of revenue sport athletes. Welcome to Sports Extra. I'm Luis Fernandez.
And I'm Madison Way. In the past 2 weeks, Sports Extra, Carolina Week, Carolina Connection, and the Daily Tar Heel have tried dozens of times to contact various representatives of the administration for an update. So far, the most we know is that there's no definitive timeline for the completion of the university's review of Willingham's findings. Willingham, on the other hand, has been very vocal in defense of her research. Susanna Black brings us an update about an academic counselor whose name is now as widely known as any coach on campus.
Mary Willingham's office is where it's always been. She walks the same route to campus in the morning, sees the same students during the day, and goes home to her family every night. But after blowing the whistle about UNC's no-show classes, the former counselor in the Academic Support Program for Student Athletes says the university has ruled her data set completely bogus, turning her life upside down. That data, which Willingham spent 7 years collecting with the university's approval, was the starting point of UNC's academic scandal and resulted in countercharges from UNC administrators. Willingham says Provost Jim Dean is leading the charge against her.
The provost has attacked my character, that I was a liar, and that the data was insignificant, useless, and meaningless.
Carolina's administration appointed a panel of experts to review Willingham's data for the second time. She expects the group will conclude that her findings were way off.
He had some people spend 200 hours on the reevaluation of the data, but he did not get the raw scores, nor did he talk to the psychologist that did all of the testing and that worked for us for 15 plus years doing that, nor did he talk to anyone in accessibility resources, formerly disability services, where many of these students have files and folders with more information in them. So as far as I know, they still don't have enough background information to determine what they need to determine, which is that my data is correct.
Willingham says the issue isn't about her data, and it never should have been. The university's focus should be about reforming the way the university approaches every student admitted into Carolina, athlete or not.
I'm really only doing this so that we can help our students, all of our students that come and are admitted to our campus, either to play sport or not.
Willingham says she knows it won't be an easy road. It will take many people from many different departments within the university to change the culture.
We need to go back for 2 decades, and we need to look at the transcripts of our top players, our star players, our top recruits, those who were admitted through special admissions, special talents, and we'll be able to see patterns in those transcripts of what classes they could pass and what classes they couldn't pass. And that really makes everything pretty obvious from the standpoint of what kind of work they were able to do and what kind of degrees they got, real ones or bogus ones.
But Willingham says the problems go far beyond UNC.
We've created a bogus system, a system of eligibility, and I believe that's happening all across the country, and that's why I've really moved on past UNC, because I feel that my university, the one that I love, just like you, has still failed us in being honest. And so I think that while this NCAA reform movement is like a train that's moving, and it's definitely out of the station now, UNC isn't anywhere near the station. They're not in the depot at all. I don't know where they are or where they plan to be, but the train's moving and the NCAA is going to be reformed. And I think we're going to see it happen pretty quickly now.
To keep pushing her cause, Willingham is writing a book entitled Cheated, along with UNC history professor Jay Smith. She's appeared on numerous TV and radio shows, such as ESPN's Outside the Lines, and will appear on HBO this week. This has left many questioning if she only wants her 15 minutes of fame.
I don't even know some of these shows that I'm talking on. I've never even seen them before, and I don't know who these people are. But the message needs to get out there, because that's the only way that we're gonna change this problem.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Susanna Black reporting.
Friday, the Associated Press published a story that said UNC officials might have violated state law in their criticism of Mary Willingham. Lewis Clark of the Government Accountability Project sent a letter to Chancellor Carol Folt saying that UNC officials look like bullies and their actions will keep others from coming forward to talk. The university responded. Thank you for your March 6th letter. The University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill is committed to accountability across campus to ensure that all students receive the support they need to succeed at Carolina. To this end, we will be as transparent as possible in our processes. We will make public the findings from the external review of the data set. We expect that report to be released soon. In addition, the university has retained Kenneth L. Weinstein, a 19-year veteran of the U.S. Justice Department, as an independent counsel to conduct a new inquiry. How he proceeds, to whom he talks, and what questions he asks will be up to him. The university will cooperate fully with Mr. Weinstein and ensure that he has the full access he needs to complete his work. While there is no set timetable for completing the inquiry, Mr. Weinstein will produce a written report, which also will be made public. We contacted Lewis Clark, the main source in the AP story about harassment and bullying.
It didn't respond to what our concerns were, which were, are you going to investigate the intimidation and harassment which seems to be occurring in terms of Mary? And he didn't address that at all. We're disappointed. We think that if there's an independent review happening, then they should be transparent and tell us what that independent review is all about and how is it independent and how it's going to be conducted, and just fairly simple transparency would be helpful.
So what information has the university released in the months since the story first broke? Delia D'Ambra joins us now.
That's right, Madison. The UNC administration has been very tight-lipped about the status of its review of Mary Willingham's research. So for now, let's set those numbers aside and look at those released by the Office of Admissions. From 2004 to 2012, the university admitted 1,377 special talent athletes, stating that more than 97% met or exceeded the CNN threshold. Now, the CNN threshold was defined as a student scoring at least a 400 on the critical reading section of the SAT. Critical reading specifically targets students' ability to comprehend, sentence completion, and answer questions about short and long reading passages. UNC admitted 39 revenue sport athletes who fell below that threshold during that 8-year span. In 2005, UNC reported that the average SAT score of its freshman class was 1,336, which equates to about 650 on the critical reading section. So the 39 who scored below 400 were 250 points or more below their fellow freshmen. Another question is, what exactly does the 400 score represent, and how many admitted in addition to the 39 just barely made the cut? A question that remains, too, is if the 39 were all in good academic standing, as the university claims. So what sort of classes were they taking? UNC has faced intense scrutiny about the fraudulent class scandal, including and involving students taking classes that never even met. More than half of the students in those classes were athletes. And finally, who's on the review panel? How did the university choose them? And just how long does it take to finalize the review? Again, we have sought many answers to these questions from a number of administration officials. So for now, Madison, many more questions remain than answers in this ongoing story.
Thanks, Delia. Now let's go back to the Mary Willingham perspective. Susanna Black joins us live from South Building with Jay Smith, who is co-authoring a book with Willingham titled Cheated.
Thanks, Madison. I'm here with Professor Smith. Professor Smith, we are expecting new results from the university about Mary Willingham's research. Do you think the findings will be the same as the first time?
It's really hard to predict the particulars of this particular report because the university has kept everything behind the invisibility cloak. They've developed a real taste for secrecy in the past couple of months, and so we don't know who these experts are. We don't know what kind of charge they were given, what information they were fed at the outset, how their assumptions may have been shaped or misshapen, as the case may be. And so it's hard to say what the particulars will be, but I'd be stunned if this university-sponsored report produced information that the university didn't want to hear.
How do you feel the university could be handling the situation differently?
Well, I mean, all along, really since the fall of 2012, I have maintained and have told as many people who will listen that Mary deserves a certain kind of respect and deference simply by her status as a whistleblower. And this university, for whatever reason, especially this current administration, has refused to extend her that basic respect. And if they had done so, I mean, I think this story would be playing out very differently today. They took a lot of missteps early in the year, and they've been struggling to make up for it ever since. That's my reading of the situation. They should have invited her in for a discussion. They should have recognized that she's a member of this community. She's a concerned citizen like everyone else. She doesn't have some malign intent here, but that's not the way they've treated her for whatever reason.
Great. That was Professor Smith. Back to you guys in the studio.
And that was Susanna Black at South Building with Jay Smith. Next up for Willingham, Washington, D.C. to campaign for reform. After that, she isn't sure, but Willingham says she loves UNC and will stop at nothing to ensure the best for its students.
On to other sports news. Basketball season is officially over for the men's team, and it couldn't have ended in a more painful way for the Heels. We're going to go to the final minutes of the second half. UNC up 8 with just under 4 to go. Iowa State comes down and Naz Long hits a 3 to cut the lead to 5. 45 seconds later, Long hits, wait for it, another 3, and it's a 2-point game. Next Cyclone possession, DeAndre Kane finds Melvin Edgem in transition, and the game is all tied up with 2 minutes to play. An 8-0 run for Iowa State. McDonald finds McAdoo for a short jumper to give the Heels a 3-point lead. But here comes Iowa State once again as Long hits another 3 in transition to tie the game. Now, 35 seconds left. Page has the ball, but he turns it over, and Kane leaks out for an easy layup. After, look at it, too easy there. After 2 McAdoo free throws, the game is tied, but here comes Kane with the drive and the finish to give Iowa State a 2-point lead with 1.6 seconds left. Nate Britt comes down and calls a timeout, but after further review from the officials, replay shows the clock started late and time should have expired before Britt's timeout. And with that, the refs end the game, and Iowa State advances to the Sweet 16. Joining us now is basketball analyst Ryan O'Rourke. Ryan, such a heartbreaking ending for the Heels to not even get a chance to tie it up. What happened on that last play?
Definitely a very heartbreaking and unfortunate ending for the season for the Heels. They had blame going in really all different directions. If we take a look at the last play right here, you can see Nate Britt takes nearly 2 full dribbles before the clock even starts. So when he looks up, he sees some time left and decides to call a timeout. But if we rewind it here, you can see that the clock started late. So the refs basically had to do some math as to how much time would have remained when Britt called a timeout if the clock would have started at the right time. And they came to the conclusion that there would have been no time left, so the game was ended.
Yeah, like we saw earlier, the Heels held an 8-point lead with just a few minutes left. How did they give it up?
It really came down to 2 things that lost this game for the Heels: turnovers and terrible transition defense. Carolina is notorious for their quick transition offense, but Roy got beat at his own game last night. Iowa State scored 10 points in transition in the final 4 minutes, which is why they were able to cut that deficit down so quickly and ultimately put themselves in position to take the last shot of the game. Marcus Page also had a very costly turnover right here in the final minute, but what hurt them even more is that once he turned it over, he didn't get back on defense, and Kane had a wide open layup to give Iowa State the lead.
So the season is over for Roy's boys, but looking forward, any chance the UNC loses some players to the draft?
I really think everybody's going to come back. The only person I could possibly see leaving is James Michael McAdoo, but he probably wouldn't get drafted until somewhere around the 2nd round. So with everybody returning, along with the stacked freshman class he has coming in, the Heels can make some serious noise next year.
Yeah, I agree. This team has a lot of chemistry, and I think that another year together will have them ready for a deeper postseason run. Thanks, Ryan.
Even after the disappointing loss, the Carolina faithful wanted to show their support for the Heels. Students used Facebook and Twitter to organize a gathering with more than 200 waiting for the team, letting them know how proud they were. Buses arrived shortly after 2 in the morning, and although the team was hurting, the players made sure to stop and talk to the students. Head coach Roy Williams addressed the crowd about the team and the season.
The way those kids represented your university was something that 26 years as a head coach, that's about as proud as I've ever been.
The women's basketball team saw its season flash before their eyes in Sunday's NCAA first-round thriller, but freshman Diamond DeShields spearheaded a late comeback that allowed the young Tar Heel squad to move on to the next round. 13-seed UT Martin was poised to upset the number 4-seeded Tar Heels after racking up an 18-point lead in the second half. However, DeShields refused to let her first collegiate postseason run slip through their fingers and kindled a late 15-0 run that gave UNC the advantage. DeShields went 9 for 9 at the free throw line and scored 13 of her 15 points in the last 10 minutes. The Tar Heels followed DeShields' lead and pulled out all the stops to regain control, including this seeded bucket from sophomore Zelina McDaniel. Like McDaniel, UT Martin ended up on the bottom, and DeShields is the hero once again.
Actively decided that, we didn't want our season to end, especially not like that, especially not on our home court. And with time running down in the second half, we had like 10 minutes to continue our season, basically. And I know I wasn't ready to stop playing.
With the win, the women set the table for a second-round matchup with Michigan State. The 5th-seeded Spartans advanced by way of a 30-point blowout of Hampton University Sunday afternoon. Michigan State came into the tournament touting a 22-9 record, including 13-3 in the Big Ten. Redshirt freshman guard Ariel Powers leads the Spartans in both points and rebounds, so the Tar Heels have to keep an eye out for her on the court tomorrow night.
The Diamond Heels came away with their 5th ACC win in the series opener against Georgia Tech on Friday. Starter Trent Thornton allowed just a pair of runs through 8, but the game was tied at 2 after 9 and went into extra innings. As the night wore on and the sun set, second baseman Wood Myers singled through the left side in the 11th, scoring pinch runner Brandon Whiteford right here, and UNC walked off with a 3-2 win. The Diamond Heels' ability seemed to set with the sun on Saturday at the Bosch. In the second game of a doubleheader against Georgia Tech, the 12th-ranked Heels managed to score only 1 run, while the Yellow Jackets kept running the bases. UNC lost 9-1, and the pitching coach went to the bullpen multiple times, using almost half of the team's pitchers. The Tar Heels dropped their first league series of the season and their 5th straight series to Georgia Tech. UNC hosts Winthrop Wednesday night at the Bosch.
The ACC is one of the toughest conferences in college lacrosse, and UNC needed a win.
We'll take that sense of urgency, add in top-ranked Maryland and a game at Kenan Stadium, and you have the perfect recipe for turtle soup.
Connect with us online by liking the Sports Extra Facebook page and following us on Twitter @SportsExtra_UNC.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere will bring us wireless emergency alerts. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know wherever you are.
I come from a big family. I'm the oldest of 6. To me, being the first person to go to college, it's like setting a standard, My little brother is 8 years old now. I challenge his curiosity. I challenge him to dream. I have to paint a picture for him that he can look up to and live up to and possibly be better than. My name is Jaquez, and I am your dividend.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
The weather is a little crazy now, but it was beautiful this weekend in Chapel Hill.
Beautiful weather for a couple of Tar Heel teams to take on the Terrapins. The softball team hosted the Maryland Terrapins for a 3-game series. UNC took game one 11-5 behind a complete game from pitcher Lori Spingola, who earned her 100th career win. Defensive lapses plagued the Heels in the second half of the doubleheader as they committed 3 errors and fell 12-11. But the Heels bounced back quickly Sunday morning in the series finale, scoring 4 runs in the opening frame. The game ended in just 5 innings thanks to the 8-run mercy rule, and the Tar Heels downed the Terps 12-3.
The UNC men's lacrosse team soundly defeated Maryland Saturday. The second straight year UNC has taken down the top-ranked Terps. Joey Sakey scored the first goal for Carolina off an assist from Pat Foster less than 2 minutes into the game. Maryland answered quickly with a pair of goals, but UNC pulled ahead when Pat Foster and Chad Tutton struck for back-to-back unassisted goals to put the Heels up 3-2 at the end of the first quarter. Carolina stretched its lead 10-7 with a pair of goals in the opening 6 minutes of the final quarter. Carolina's offense then killed off all but 13 seconds in the final 2 minutes to close out the victory. Another key to UNC's success was stellar defense as UNC held down one of Maryland's top scorers, Matt Rambo. Katie Eastman joins us with Jake Bailey, one of UNC's defensemen who contributed defensively and offensively Saturday.
That's right. We're here in front of South Building with Jake Bailey. So Jake, after coming off of hard losses from both Notre Dame and Duke, how did it feel to knock off the #1 Maryland? How did it feel for the team's confidence?
I mean, it's definitely going to do well for our confidence. It's a huge win. It's always nice taking down Maryland, an in-conference team. So hopefully we can carry that momentum from this game onward for the last 4 games this season.
So now you're a defenseman, but you also got to light up the scoreboard this game. Can you walk me through your goal?
Well, it is pretty rare for a defenseman to score a goal. Just carrying the ball up, getting past midfield line, and no one was picking me up. So figured why not give it a shot, and worked out well.
So you scored and your teammates are going nuts and you look up and see 6,000 people in Kenan Stadium. What's going through your head? How are you feeling?
I mean, that definitely feels great. It feels even better that we got the win, though.
So Maryland had 10 turnovers and didn't capitalize on any of their man-up opportunities. What was their defensive strategy there for you all?
The defensive strategy was really just to limit the production of the freshmen and really just to limit the production of their entire offense, which is supposed to be a very efficient offense, and I think we did a great job at that.
All right, well, congratulations. Thanks, Jake, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Back to you guys.
That was Katie Eastman with junior defenseman Jake Bailey.
The women's lacrosse team battled against Boston College Saturday to extend its winning streak to 14. Sophomore Allie Messenger led the Heels past the #4 Eagles, scoring a career-high 5 goals, including the game-winning free position goal with just 28 seconds left on the clock. Once again, the freshman played a huge role in Saturday's game. Freshman Sydney Holman recorded 3 goals and 1 assist, while freshmen Molly Hendrick and Maggie Bill scored 1 goal each. With the victory, Carolina improves its record to 10-0 on the season, the program's best start ever.
The indoor track season is over, so what's next for the track and field team?
Well, they're moving on outdoors that is. In is out and out is in when Sports Extra returns.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
This is the moment I knew. His future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Look at me. Hey.
Raymond, look at Mommy.
Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry. Maybe he can't hear us. Maybe we're not stimulating him enough. Maybe it's a phase.
A
Avoiding eye contact is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
The indoor track season just ended, but the track and field team doesn't get a vacation.
No, they do not. And it was the start of another outdoor track season as the UNC team competed in a 2-day Carolina Relays this weekend. UNC athletes set 8 personal records this weekend, including junior high jumper Philip Morris, who cleared a height of 6 feet 9 3/4 inches Friday, an inch better than his previous best. On Saturday, sophomore Austin Vegas won the men's pole vault, clearing a height of more than 16.5 feet. That's crazy. Houston Summers and Zach Gray also competed for the first time this year in the javelin throw, finishing 10th and 4th. Head coach Carlos Metters attributed the team's success to the momentum carried over from the indoor season.
We're carrying over the momentum that we have from indoors. So the kids are still focused, they're still hungry, and although we did compete a large number of kids, the kids that we did compete did exceptionally well.
Women's tennis team, picked up a 6-1 victory against the number 22 Fighting Irish Sunday at the Cone Kentfield Tennis Center. The Tar Heels won the doubles point as the 9th-ranked duo of Jamie Loeb and Haley Carter won 8-3 at the number 1 doubles. 15th-ranked Caroline Price and Whitney Kay clinched the opening point with an 8-5 win at number 2 doubles. Kay was the first to finish up in singles at number 4, winning 6-3 and 6-1. Top-ranked Jamie Loeb clinched the victory for the Tar Heels with a 6-3 and 7-5 win. Tessa Lyons made it 5-0 with a straight set with a win at number 6 singles. Caroline Price finished the match for the Tar Heels with a win at number 3 singles to make it 6-1. The UNC men's tennis team grabbed its 3rd ACC win of the season Sunday as the Heels dominated number 49 Virginia Tech 6-1. The Tar Heels swept the doubles point, winning on all 3 courts before the winning 5 of the 6 singles matches. Freshman Jack Murray picked up the Tar Heels' first single win in impressive fashion, winning 6-0 and 6-1. Number 32 Ronnie Schneider added to his impressive freshman career with a 7-5 and 6-3 victory. UNC's Brett Clark won in straight sets on the court 3. The final match of the evening saw Carolina's 18th-ranked Braden Schnurr battle through 3 sets to defeat the Hokies' 24th-ranked Amerigo Contini. The UNC men's basketball team is out, but 16 teams are still in.
So is your bracket busted? We check out the Sports Extra Bracket Challenge and more next on Sports Extra.
A week at 5 p.m. every Wednesday on Time Warner 24 or Campus Channel 34, and Carolina Connection at 8:30 every Saturday morning on WCHL 97.9 FM.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Okay. She's gonna love me all over again.
Jamaica, here you come.
Here we go.
Good job.
A full life measured in seats starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
Hey guys, raise your hand if your bracket is busted.
Yeah.
So probably everyone.
Yeah, here's a shot of redemption that we welcome back Ryan O'Rourke for some final predictions. So Ryan, tell us, who do you got winning it all?
Well, I think I'm going to stick with Iowa State. I think they can flat out just score the ball. Even though they did lose Georgia Niang, one of their best low post scorers, they still had, Naz Long, who hurt us on behind the arc, his replacement, knocking down threes. So I'm going to stay with Iowa State. If not, I see Michigan State coming out of the East and taking it as well.
Okay, all right. What about you, Madison?
I'm a little bit different than Ryan. I'm going to change up my prediction one more time. I said Michigan State last week. Then I said Michigan. I think my bracket says Florida. I'm going to say Virginia today. You know what? Yeah, you know what? Go ACC.
Okay. Well, that's good. Well, I'm going to go with the pretty traditional route here, pretty original, I'd say. I'm going to go with Florida. They play grown man basketball, and they play really good defense. I could be right after all. I'm currently the leader of the Sports Extra Bracket Challenge. No big deal. Here's the leaderboard. There's a three-way tie for first place between Brian France, Jordan Black, and yours truly, Luis Fernandez. All three of us have Florida taking the title. That does it for this edition of Sports Extra. Thanks for watching.
Good night.